Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Jack from Kangaroo Jack's Fitness. So some of you may or may not know that I'm a huge fan of motorbikes. I've been riding for over 10 years now. I've done a bit of racing on track days, done a little bit of off-roading on trials bikes. Want to get into doing a bit of like motocross riding would be absolutely amazing. What I'm here to talk to you about today is some exercises that can help you, one, get better at the sport, but two, a big thing that I come across is a lot of the time people will come to me and go, I can't ride sports bikes, they're too uncomfortable, they give me such chronic back pain or lower back pain especially, and on the wrists. As you guys can see here, this is the bike I ride. So it's a Suzuki TL1000R. This isn't a bike for your beginner. Yeah, this will put out 130 brake horsepower at the rear wheel. It will try to kill you. It is called a Widowmaker for a reason. Has no ABS, no traction control, no anti-slide, no anti-wheel, nothing like that. You give it a bit too much of that throttle and you're going down. But you can master these bikes. I can ride this bike, do a couple 100 miles on it some days, and you'll get little aches and pains, you know, like you might get like tight hip, you'll feel it in your fingers a bit, but it's all about how your posture is when you're riding bikes. So a lot of the time what you'll find is people will be really bound up in the hip and really bound up in the upper back. So this sort of puts you into that concaved in sort of posture where you look like a bit of a turtle. So when you are on the bike, it becomes really uncomfortable. And the number one thing I see, a lot of time people try and ride sports bikes and they're really up front on the bike. And if you watch professional racers, they really slide their weight back. They push their hips back to the edge of the seat, right to the very end. It's only when they go on to brake that they move forward and they hang off, dangling out the leg, and they're prepared, ready for the corner. So let's start with my top 5 exercises to do to help you guys be more comfortable at long distance riding and riding sports bikes and going out there and enjoying the roads while we can. Okay, let's get started. So guys, what you really want to focus on, first of all, is what's called decompression or traction-based movements. So this, what it will do is it will decompress the spinal column. Okay, so where your bones sit on top of each other, there's a little like disc, it's full of fluid, that gets really compressed. That starts pushing on the nerves in your lower back, starts giving you lower back pain on them long rides. Again, when the hip rolls forward, everything compresses because it's out of alignment. So the first thing we're going to look at is a reverse hyper. So this is my personal reverse hyper. Not every gym in the UK is going to have these, unfortunately. Don't worry, we are going to go over some different exercises that you don't need this. If your gym can get one, great, they're absolutely amazing. Okay, so basically it's a tabletop with a pivot in it. It's really simple. So all you do, put your feet into these little stoppers. You can use like a chain belt or just even a belt. It's completely up to you. This is just what comes with the machine. I can change it if need be. So I'm literally just going to put one foot up onto here, jump up. I just want just above my hip. I'm going to grab onto the handlebars. I'm going to place my other foot into it. And then I'm just going to start to swing. As I swing, I bring my chest up. As my legs come up, and I duck down, looking at the weights at the bottom. So this is pulling my hips through at the bottom, decompressing the spine. Now as I come up, I'm actively going into what's called hyperextension. So that's working all of my back from not only my glutes and my hamstrings, but from my lower back all the way down to the base of my neck. Nice and simple. You can do that a couple different ways. You can do it without swinging and work more of that posterior chain, or you can do the swing like I prefer in the beginning to help decompress that spine. So guys, if you don't have access to a reverse hyper and you're not looking to buy one because they're not a cheap bit of kit, you can pick them up sometimes fairly cheap on places like Facebook Marketplace. You know, XTR sell them fairly cheap and they're a really good brand. That's what that one is. I highly recommend them. But what you'll find in most gyms is this. It's called a hyperextension. Okay, this is going to do similar things to the reverse hyper, but not to the same effect. So this is going to work your hamstrings, glutes, and your lower back. You tend to not get a lot of upper back with this. You're not going to get as much decompression, but you will find these in most gyms. So what you want to do, you want to make sure this pad is set up in line with your hip crease. You can go a little bit lower and get more of a hip dominated movement if you're trying to work on what's called hip hinge, where you push your hips back. But for today, we're really trying to work out that lower back and help decompress it. So what you're going to do, you're going to place your feet right up against these stoppers up here. You can use a weight with this, you can use bands, different variations on the exercise. Today I'm just going to show you just pure body weight. So I lie my hips onto it, and then what I'm going to do, I can hold my hands up on my chest, hold them down wherever I want. I just prefer them up here. I'm going to literally let myself sink down as far as I can until I start to feel a stretch through here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to grab the bottom of the machine if I can, slowly pull myself into it. So now I'm feeling more a deeper hamstring stretch, and a little bit stretch into the glute itself. So as I'm doing it, I'm trying to breathe out, really relax into it. And then I'm going to squeeze the hamstrings and glutes. It's going to bring me up to this nice straight line. So I don't want to come any higher. A lot of times you'll see people come all the way up here. That's really dangerous on that lower back. The only reason it works on the reverse hyper like that is because you've got two sides opposing each other with the weight. Because your legs don't come up that high, the pump in your lower back is actually more beneficial to you. So you're getting that stretch reflex, but also you're building up that rectus spinatus, which run all the way up the back. That's what you're getting with the reverse hyper. Remember, from the base of the spine to the bottom of the back. Here, it's basically only that lower section of your back. These can be done not only like that, you can do them a bit faster if you're a bit more comfortable with them. So I can go down, feel the stretch, and then squeeze the glutes and hamstrings and come up. I can mess around with going a little bit wider, get a little bit more lower back, or if I want to come in real close, get more hamstrings and glutes. So once you guys have done this, I would do a couple of sets, like 3 to 4 sets, anywhere between sort of 10 to 15 reps. It's always good when you're doing the first version where you're really letting yourself sink into it. Take about like 10 to 15 seconds to really let yourself drop down into that stretch, even longer sometimes. You can do that, especially on the last rep of your last set that you do. Really help take some of that blood out from the lower back and start to move it around so it'll be a little bit more comfortable. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is a belt squat. Okay guys, so this one is the belt squat. If you guys don't have a plate loaded belt squat, no need to worry. All you need is a tiny little step, a cable machine, and then a chain belt that you see a lot of people hanging weights from when they do pull-ups and dips. What this is going to do, unlike a conventional squat, where we're putting a lot of weight through our upper back, compressing those discs with the bar, we're putting all the weight onto our hips. Yeah, so what this does, it pulls my hips down, balances them out, pulls them into the right position. And then what I'm really going to focus on here is my feet placement. So I'm going to go nice and wide. Okay, I want to feel like the edge of my toe, my little toe, poking outside my trainer. I'm going to weight that toe and weight my heels. And then what I want to do now, I'm just going to use this as a guide. Okay, I'm going to push my hips back as far as I can. And then I'm going to push my knees out to the side. Keep my head up. And then I come up. What I'm doing here, I'm using a lot more hamstrings and glutes. I'm really using my hips now to push through that squat. You don't have to go below parallel. You might only get to about here. and come up. It's absolutely fine. You might even be able to go really low down. There's no benefit going below parallel. So anywhere below here, there's no real benefit to it. You can put a box behind you to really help build that confidence up. And then, like, as I say, with this, it's going to have a massive carryover when you're on the bike and you're really trying to manhandle that bike and you've got to whip it from one side to the other. All comes in the hips. If you see MotoGP riders that put a lot of pressure through the pegs, they can hang off, and that's all because of the hip power. Obviously you could do different ranges of motions on this. It doesn't just have to be a squat. It could be like weighted Cossack squats. You know, I could do variations of split squats where I'm doing this, or what, you know, you can do the lunges where you lunge back. 100 different ways. I can elevate the rear foot instead. It's completely up to you how you want to do some of these exercises. Remember, variation is king, but these are #1 staple ways that I want you to start implementing in your day-to-day. Loading the hips and using tons more decompression exercises. Okay, let's move on to the next exercise. So guys, if you're liking the content so far, don't forget to look me up on Instagram and Facebook. Links will be on my LinkedIn page and also up on the screen right now. So a little bit of background for me in the sport. So in 2013, I was racing at Mallory Park. I had a big accident where I got run over by another bike. Ran over my shoulder, my head and my lower back. So I've been through the absolute ringer over the last 7 or 8 years. It's taken me a long time to come back from these. I was racing within a month, but I wasn't fit and I wasn't healthy. My goal here is to help you guys not only be able to ride for many more years, but also enjoy your riding and help you perform better. Okay guys, so these next 2 exercises are going to be a bit more mobility based. So we're going to start off with a thoracic spine extension. So all you're going to need is some basic stuff for this. All you really need is a foam roller or anything that's circular that you can put under your back. You don't need a kettlebell. I've just got a kettlebell to hand. You can use a barbell. You can use anything that really just helps keep your hands down on the floor. Okay. So with this, what you're going to do, you're going to place the foam roller just under your shoulder blades right here on your back. So what we're aiming to do is really help get your thoracic spine, which is right in between here. Okay, we want to get it from this turtle shell up to extended. This is going to help you, one, not only with your overall posture, shoulder health as well, but with your breathing. A lot of time when people have tight breathing, their abdominals are really tight, and then their chest is tight, their back is tight, and they end up rounded like this, and then the neck comes forward, and they just end up in a lot of discomfort. It happens over time, happens from a lot of seating. So all I'm going to do, start with the foam roller, place it right under my shoulder blades. Okay, get nice and snug. I could plant my feet up in the beginning for beginners, and then more advanced you get, take them out to where they're flat. So what I'm going to do for the minute for beginners, show you this. So all I'm going to do now, I'm just going to try and keep my hips to the floor. If they do come up slightly, that's absolutely fine. But what I want to do is think about just trying to keep my ribs as low as I can, and I'm folding over the foam roller. And then I'm just going to grab the kettlebell. Okay, I'm just going to slide it back, and I'm just going to hang out here. I'm just going to try and let myself relax over, try and keep my arms straight as I can. You might get a little headache. If you do, put something under your head. I'm just going to open up. You're going to feel this stretch all the way down through here, through your lats, under your armpits, in the upper back. Again, I'm going to camp out for 2 minutes, and then what I'll do is I'll roll down slightly, so I'm a little bit higher up the back, and then repeat the process. And then I'm just going to camp out here. Again, I feel a big stretch now through my abdominals. The higher I get up my back. And once that starts to loosen up, again, come out into that top part of the upper back. I can hear some clicking in my upper back. That's absolutely fine. That's just the vertebrae coming back into alignment. And I'm just going to end up
just the base of my neck, top of my shoulders, then I can relax. So what you don't want to do now is try and do like a massive sit-up from this position. So what I get people to do, I just get them to bring their arms down, drop their knees to the side, roll onto the side, and then up from there. If you are a bit more advanced, obviously all you'd want to do, once you've set the foam roller up in the position you want, and you are over, and your ribs are down, is I'm going to take my legs down, make them nice and straight. This will put a lot more pressure onto that thoracic spine, make it a bigger stretch through your abdominal area here, and take some pressure off those hips. And then again, just camp out, do the same thing if you've got the kettlebell or the barbell. And what you're looking to do is trying to get your head nice and flat to the floor. Okay, just like this. Don't worry if it doesn't touch the floor, it's not the purpose of this. That will help you open up that thoracic spine. Hey guys, so our next exercise is going to be a hip flexor stretch. So this is going to be really important for undoing those hips. Okay, we talked a lot about decompression. Now we're talking about general population that don't have access to a gym, or you want to do this at work to help relieve that reduce that lower back pain, and then start to make your hips a lot more healthier. So what you want to do, you want to come to a lunge position, 90 degrees of the front leg, 90 degrees of the back. Now if you look, what I'm not doing is I'm not coming all the way forward like I would do in yoga. I'm sitting up nice and straight, got a straight line from my shoulder to my hip to my knee. And I'm going to squeeze this glute forward so I can feel the stretch from the top of my sort of quad down to my knee. And I'm just going to camp out here. What you can do if you're a bit more advanced is bring this arm up, lean over to the side slightly and back. This is going to hit another part of the hip flexor, okay, that runs from the front of your pelvis diagonally through to your lower back, which pulls that lower back forward when the hip rounds forward. Yeah. So again, camp out 2 minutes each side. So our fifth and final exercise, guys, is going to be for the upper back. So this is going to be straight arm pull downs. There's a special way I want you to do these to really engage all of them shoulders and then especially the lats. So this is going to help you, one, keep a really good posture so you're not completely rounded in and really weak and struggling to move that bike, but you can really sit up and engage your arms, especially like throw those handlebars side to side when you're trying to move the bike really quickly through those chicanes, and also help you with that counter steering. So what we want to do, you can use any type of bar with this, but I've just gone for what's on the machine, just this little upside down V bar. So what I'm going to do is place my hands up, I'm going to step back slightly, I'm going to push my hips back, I'm going to keep a straight line from the bottom of my spine up to the base of my neck. And then what I'm going to do now, as you can see, I've actually let my shoulders go forward. So that's full stretch. So I'm going to bring my shoulder blades together and then down. See, my arms are dropped a little bit. Now that's engaging my rhomboids, okay, and your like rotator cuff muscles, which are your shoulder blades basically. So from here, I'm then going to pull down to my quads. So now I'm engaging my lats. See how my chest is nice and tall now? So I come up, let it stretch, contract the shoulders, decompress, and then down to my thighs, yeah? So when I say decompress, basically I just mean I bring them together and then I decompress them or just move them down basically. I just think of it as like I'm unloading a lot of tension from being up here. I'm just lowering my shoulders and then separating the distance between my neck and my shoulders as much as I can. And then pull down. Stretch, engage the shoulders, and then back down. So this is really turning on my lats. It's going to, one, build up the upper back and that posterior chain. So I can feel this all the way down, basically where the lats tie in down near the lower back. This is really going to be beneficial for you guys that are suffering with posture issues.
and that you can't engage your shoulders a lot of the time because they're really rounded forward. Happens with 90% of the population. Okay guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below on not only videos you'd like to see in the future, but some of the bikes you ride. I really want to get you guys involved with this channel. There's going to be more motorcycle content coming in the future, maybe even some little ride-along vlogs, depending on what happens with all these restrictions later on in life. But if you like this video, guys, do us a favour, hit everything I've just said. Have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one.